Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I am here today with a long-awaited video I've been wanting to do for you guys. This is my top 5 unsnagging tips. So I've been postponing a lot of my videos, and especially this video, because I've been waiting to get the GoPro Hero 4, which I finally just got. I've been using it for a while. It's an amazing camera, and I'm going to leave a link down in the description below for you guys if you want to check out this camera, because it's a really decent price right now, because the Hero 5 just came out and it's gone down in price. So definitely want to check that out, guys. It's a really cool camera. So let's get on to the video. The tip is going to be, if you guys cast out there and you get snagged, then well, actually, hold on a second. First, I want to just say that this video is intended for mainly shore anglers. These tips will work on a boat, but it's mainly intended for those of us who do not have a boat or are just fishing from shore because whatever reason that may be. Another thing I want to say is to apologize for any wind that you may hear in the GoPro. I'm trying to avoid the wind as much as possible, but it's kind of hard out here on this reservoir right now. You guys just get snagged out here, just like straight out. What you want to do is not try to unsnag right away. What you want to do is kind of, hold on, let me tip the camera up a bit. What you want to do is kind of give your rod a up-down motion, so you're kind of making like a snap with your fishing pole. It goes like, you know, kind of like this. And what that does is it's going to send a sort of wave down the line, and if you're snagged on a rock, that motion can help unsnap your lure from the rock. Okay, now that you would do this is because when you originally get snagged and then you try to yank it really hard in one direction, what you're doing is you're embedding the hooks farther into whatever object that you're already snagged into. So definitely try to loosen it up that way first. Tip number two is definitely important, no matter whether you're on a boat or you're fishing from shore. If you get snagged, you have to make sure that you don't just try to unsnag it just facing straight on. It's very important to switch up your angle. For example, if I'm snagged straight out here, what I want to do is I want to move to my left or to my right as far down as I can and try to unsnag it from different angles, pulling in different directions. That's very important because pressure on different areas where maybe it's just embedded a little bit in, say, like a log or something, can help break it loose. So it's very important to change your angle up and to try to apply pressure from different directions. Tip number 3, it's mainly for people who are fishing in rivers, or if you're on a boat. What you're going to do is you're going to try to get behind wherever you're snagged. For example, maybe I can kind of give you guys an example here if I bring my lure in. If I'm snagged, I'm not sure how well you guys can see this. Let me tip my camera down a little bit. If I'm snagged, say, right on this rock right here, what I want to do is I want to try to turn myself around so that my lure, let's just say this is the back side of the rock. I want to be on the back side of the rock so I can pull from the back side. You see, that's very important, because if you can do that, that's going to be one of the most effective ways to get unsnagged. Because if you're coming in straight like this and I get snagged on a rock, if I can pull from the opposite side, it should be able to come unsnagged pretty easily. So, okay, tip number 4. Tip number 4 is kind of a drastic measure. If you've tried all these other tips and you just can't do it, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take your drag here, you're going to tighten it all the way down. You want to make sure there's no give in your line so that it's completely tight, your drag is all the way set. And say you're snagged right out here, what you're going to do is you're going to take your pole and you're going to slowly pull backwards and slowly move backwards. Most lines, like monofilament, have stretch in it, so you're going to be able to stretch it quite a bit. I'm using braid right now. Braid is not as stretchy. It has very little give, so it's not going to be as stretchy. But it doesn't really matter what line you have. Braid will probably be a little bit more effective in this. But if you're using monofilament, it's okay. It should still help. So what you're going to do is you're going to slowly walk backwards, okay? And you're going to slowly walk backwards. And what this is doing is, if you're snagged on, say, a small rock, or you're snagged in wood, you're slowly pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and eventually it's going to rip through the wood, or it's going to turn over the small rock. If you're hooked on a really big rock, this isn't going to be as effective, but it can still work, because your hooks will eventually, because there's so much pressure on the hooks, they'll bend, and then you can just kind of rip it through. So you're going to slowly walk back, and if you get to the point where you've tightened your drag all the way down and it's still not working, then you're just going to have to try something else, because your drag can only handle a certain amount of pulling pressure. Okay guys, my last tip number 5, is going to be also a sort of last resort tip. However, it'll give you, you'll be able to put more pressure on your lure and be more likely to bend those hooks over. And this method is something I've used countless times. I've probably used tip 4 the most, to be honest. Just pulling it straight back. I've used tip 5 a lot though, and it's really effective. Actually, I probably used tip 5 just as much. What you're going to do is you're going to take your line, wrap it around your arm so that there's no give, so that when you pull, you can feel the pressure of wherever you're snagged. And you're going to wrap it around your arm, and you're going to do the same thing as in tip 4. You're going to slowly pull back. Now, this is going to be putting a lot of pressure on, because most of the time, any person who's, you know, just the average human strength is going to have much more pressure to be able to pull than you would on just a normal drag. Obviously, if you have an ocean fishing reel, this is not going to be the case. But most drags, humans can pull harder than the drag can, because these are meant to catch fish, and most fish are not going to weigh as much as humans unless you're out in the ocean. So what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it around your wrist or your hand or your arm, and you're going to slowly pull back, and that's going to help bend your hooks or rip it through whatever you're snagged on. All right guys, so just remember, you're going to wrap it around. You want to slowly walk back. You don't want to just jerk it, because that can really, you know, that can really just help the knot to just slip through. You want to slowly, gradually pull back and increase pressure. And a lot of times when you're doing this, you'll just feel it go slack, and you have your lure back. All right guys, and of course when you're doing this, if you've cut your line from your pole, you're going to have to hand line it in. But if you haven't, then you can just let it go, reel in really fast, and get your lure back. Okay guys, so that was my top 5 unsnagging tips. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been waiting a while to make this video, and I'm really hoping that it'll help you guys out. Mainly this is directed toward beginners or beginner anglers, because I know it can be extremely annoying and frustrating to lose lures on snags. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day and keep fishing. I'll catch you guys in the next one.